So I'm looking at a video, and I was on YouTube not long ago. As a matter of fact, without being live, and I was looking at, like, going through some videos, and I've done a video on this type of thing before, and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna try to see. You can probably see me scratching my head because I was like, wow, taken back by what I was looking at. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sure I can find it, in my history. Okay, I'm trying to actually go back in here. I'm looking at my history. Okay, I found it.
Hey, embarrassing, Rihanna. Think of the way you don't got the house to be up. You be having hot closed doors. You don't never let nobody know what's going on in your relationship. Right now, he don't even respect you, baby. That's not respectful love. That's not respectful love. You're not saying no this, but you. Sorry, man. Rihanna not getting up. Rihanna, don't get the fuck up.
You hear that, right?
Mr. What's up? Stop that fucking door. They call the NBA police. Don't let him go nowhere. You shut this door in so he can't. No, he need to go to jail. Fuck you mean? No. Is he hitting your kids like that? No. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Fuck out of here. I ain't gonna never accuse you of nothing because you're a mother. Don't let that man beat you. That traumatized the kids and everything. Do you hear me? That fucked them up in the end and long run. He gonna get you locked up. No, you can't get locked up. It's my word. The NCA cameras saying all that. Y'all see the cameras? The cameras everywhere. The camera caught you banging on your face and jumping. You can't plead the fifth down, my nigga. Rihanna, don't get up. Don't get up, Rihanna. No, fuck her. Fuck me, Rihanna. You don't know me. I'm your fucking angel. Do you hear me? I'm a walking testimony. That's what I am. That's what I am. Rihanna, you don't gotta put up with that. Do you hear me? Rihanna, you ain't gotta put up with that. It's places where you can go and you can get away from that. You won't even have contact with you. But that right there, I can see it happen every day. Rihanna, if you love yourself and them children, you gonna get yourself out of it. Do you hear me? You gonna love your children before you love yourself.
You can hear that.
Rihanna, don't do it, Rihanna. Go to the house and proof yourself. Don't do it with him. He gonna try to beat this shit out you later on. Look at him. He acting like a fucking psycho. We on the Paint by 5 Mercy Hospital. He acting like a fucking psycho. He just beat his fucking baby mother, whoever she is to him, but she's a fucking girl and you're a man. Then I had this man stand up to him and said, hit me, how you hit him? And you didn't even hit that man. That man was in his face. That man was big as shit. Sit down, David. Sit down. Brianna, which is good. You can get more. It's everywhere. Brianna, do you hear me? He fucking do all that just like he probably doing. After he finished wiping the blood from your nose, right? Baby, I've been there. I done it. It ain't weird sex. It ain't love, yo. I don't give a fuck if y'all was together for 15 years. It ain't love at all. Hey, bitch, y'all. Fuck me, y'all. It's our relationship. Get out of here. You gonna fucking that girl. You gonna fucking probably you. But you got the right one. Hit me how you hit her. Hit me. Hit me how you hit her. Clown shit. He said follow.
Okay, I stopped the video. So the lady that you hear talking in that video, it was actually posted in another video by a young lady named Paris Milan. And it's titled Black Woman Defends Black Woman from an Abusive Boyfriend. And so this was really sad because this guy, I guess he's the boyfriend of this young lady, and he was on the bus and he was hitting her in broad daylight in front of a bus full of people. And another African American young woman defended her because she saw the wrong in it. What's disturbing about this whole scenario is another woman saw what she was going through, and she was able to defend her because of knowing how it felt because of her past relationships that she experienced and overcame. From what I got from the video is that she had broke away from an abusive relationship herself. And so this is really disturbing. And, you know, out of all of the patrons or the people that were riding the bus, I'm sure there were other males on the bus that saw this. And none of the males got up to defend this young lady that was being hit in the face in broad daylight in front of everyone. And so I know there's this whole thing where people have a lot of fear. They don't know what the circumstance might entail, and they're afraid if somebody's carrying a weapon and what have you. But for a woman to defend another woman, despite the risk that she could endanger herself, she saw that there was a wrongdoing, and she had sense enough to film it and put it on film, put him on blast, and call law enforcement and request that the bus driver keep him on the bus because an assault was happening while they were riding the bus, and they had plenty of witnesses to pretty much speak out and say what they saw happening on the bus in front of people, probably children were on the bus, and you had to have another woman to defend another woman. See, this is the kind of thing that happens in society, and it's really sickening. And what's also disturbing is underneath that video, upon the video, um, yeah, I hate to bring this up, but I will bring it up. Um, let me see here. Now, I'm going to actually go back in there because it was playing, and it might, you know, I don't know if it's going to play again. I'm trying not to let it play. Okay. All right. So I'm seeing underneath a couple of things that have happened. Um, trying to see if I can actually go back into that feed, and I don't think I'm able to go back in there. But anyway, let me see. I might be able to go back in there. You probably see me talking or whatever, because I know that's the way this thing is set up now, because they want everybody to show who they are. Well, it's a choice. You know, I don't have anything really necessarily to hide. You know, I just don't want to be famous. That's probably about it. You know, I do speak my mind. I say things, and some things may be controversial, and maybe not everybody agrees with, but I do say what's on my mind, and I don't feel like I need to be necessarily afraid to be honest about some of the things that I'm feeling. You know, I'm not somebody that's looking to go and harm anybody or do harm to anybody. So I don't feel like I have to, you know, duck for cover or run for cover and hide simply because I'm a person that is, I'm outspoken in my way of what it is that my opinions are. And I'm sure there's a lot of people like me. Um, you're pretty real and you want to let people know where you stand, and it's not too much that you can put up with. And so I guess that comes with age. But abuse, I'll just say this off the top of my head. I totally have a zero tolerance for someone who thinks it's okay while they're in a relationship, or even if they're not in a relationship, to hit and abuse women, especially if they're in a position where they have your children, or even if they're not doing anything to you, they don't have any relationship with you, but you feel because they're weaker that you can forcefully abuse them either emotionally or physically. And that's in the event that you're in a relationship with a woman and she feels some type of way about herself where her self-esteem is really low, and so she's been beat down emotionally, so she has no giddy up and go about herself. She feels unconfident, and she feels as though she can't really say anything in the relationship, that she's just being controlled and she's just someone's property rather than someone that another person loves. And so that isn't love. And I agree with the young lady. Her name is Misha Battle. She posted the video on August the 18th, and it's from a feed out of Paris Milan. I don't know if you guys watch Paris Milan, but I just think it's sad because I'll say this here, as being a black women put up with a lot of chaos in relationships, and they put up with a lot, and they feel like there's this loyalty that we have to have towards even the worst type of males. And if the guy is helping you with kids, he's helping you with bills, and he loves you, and he's supporting your kids, supporting you, and he's a good man, then I can understand, and he's not physically and emotionally abusive. But if he's hitting you, slapping you around, and dogging you out, and putting black eyes on you, and causing you to break your arm, your leg, hurting your kids, taking your money, sleeping around, giving you diseases, I'm not with all of that. And so that's basically where I'm coming from. So a lot of people, I don't know, it's easy for people to get on here and make videos talking about how they hate black women and how they hate women because maybe they've had a few bad dates or they don't know how to approach females. But here's the thing. If you're abusive and you're controlling, you don't need to be with nobody. That's the way I look at it. It's better to be alone, work on yourself, go to therapy, try to do something to work on yourself. Maybe there was something traumatic that happened in your childhood or something in your past that you haven't really quite worked out all of that yet. And so you inflict all that anger on somebody that's innocent, you're an abuser. And you haven't worked on the abuse that's happened in your life. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, this is going to be a short video because I feel like there's a lot of abuse going on, and it's not just physically, it's not just people being hit, it's people being abused emotionally, where you are in a relationship where someone is constantly cheating on you and having babies while you're married to them. Now, this happened to an actress recently, and I know people know who I'm talking about. I was trying to find the feed that I saw because it recently said that this actress actually took her husband back. And it was the actress. I'm going to try to see if I can look it up. Um, her name, at least. See if I have her name right. She has been a hot topic lately. The name of this actress, let me see, because I was looking her up because, you know, You know how you know the face over the name? You know the face, but you're not really the name. I just not the last name, yeah. But her name is Leela Rashawn. So Leela Rashawn had an incident that was on Twitter and it was all over about her husband cheating on her. And so she's now recently updated that she took her husband back. And so sometimes you gotta let people live their life, y'all. I know a lot of people are, probably weighing in on the whole thing. And, I've heard, that some guys have even said some negative things about women, their weight, what have you. And that's going to happen because you have a lot of people that have a lot of immaturity and they don't realize that everyone gets old, everyone changes, everybody's bodies change. As you age, your metabolism slows down, you begin to change. Some people, they stay in the gym, they have a trainer, they know how to, change their diet around, maybe for health reasons. And then, still, even with that, you can be in the best shape and you could have a stroke or a heart attack. And so it's not about necessarily your outward appearance, it's about what's inside of you as a person, an individual, and what's in your heart. If you're a nasty person on the inside and you look on the outside like this model or supermodel or this fly individual, on the outside maybe you look attractive or appealing to the eye, but your attitude and your personality is really corrupt. You're really a bad person on the inside. You're not very desirable to be with because you have an attitude where you're abusive and you're hateful and all you want to do is hurt people and you look to try to start trouble and you're just a walking troublemaker. And anybody that gets with you is like danger. For you, you just have predatory mentality. You just find people as like victims and people that you could just prey upon. And you see them as weak. And you kind of take all of your aggression, all of your past pain, and you inflict it on your potential victims. And those are people that you want to steer clear of. And I know a lot of that's going on out there. And I feel like in the Black community, it's not just the Black community, but in the Black community in terms of females, because people want to have a relationship or desire to have, some people want to have a relationship, desire to have relationships, and they want them to be successful. We hear all these negative things about African American women. They just want to hang on to whatever's out there, the ones that have someone to be with. And it's not worth losing your kids. It's not worth losing your sanity. It's not worth losing your life over. And so I agree with the female who was talking earlier. Later, if I'm able to get this thing underway, then I can be a little bit more proactive with how to manipulate this video. But I was hoping that you could see what I was watching. If you didn't, maybe I'll leave a link or something attached under this video so you can see for yourself. But it was really sad because they were on the bus and this couple, they look young. And the girl, she just looked really emotionally and physically beat down. She just had no words. And he was doing all the talking and he was trying to encourage her to come with him despite him hitting her in front of people. That show of disrespect for her, even in broad daylight in front of strangers, that he had a total disregard for her dignity and her life. And he was just really bold. I guess he figured nobody's going to do anything to stop him from being abusive to this woman that he had all these children with. And so there are unfortunately, some women who are in abusive relationships who don't know how to break away from those relationships because there could be a number of things going on. There's the kids, and they want to have a father for their kids. So they feel like if they break away from the relationship, now the kids don't have their father. The other thing is low self-esteem. They don't feel like they can do any better and find a better mate. And so some of these women will choose to settle for the bottom of the barrel that's out there. And so if you go to some of these communities and you see what these guys are engaging in. It's not about going to college or trying to hold down a job. And, that's too square for them. It's about, trying to be a player, a hustler, a mag daddy, or the gangster type. And, everybody cannot, you know, be these TV type dudes that they're on the street and somehow they become famous and they make it big, the Nipsey Hustle types. So I think that's what, and then too, let's be honest here. Let's not put all the blame on one gender, because we have some females who like that kind of activity. They like being with bad boys. But when you're with a bad boy, you're going to get bad boy. See, that's the thing they're forgetting. And so if he's really bad, then he's not going to just be a bad boy on the street, but he's going to be a bad boy in other ways. So I don't think you can, change and switch up the two. So, however, some people will probably disagree with that and say, well, he could be a bad boy on the street and respect his female. And, I kind of feel like there might be a problem with all of that. Maybe she too has her issues. So I don't know the whole mechanics of that. I just don't think everybody's relationship's the same per se. But what I'm seeing in this particular couple is that this guy, he's just totally disrespectful to this female, and he has no regard to her safety and probably to the kid's safety. And everything she does, she's probably blamed in a way like everything that goes wrong in their relationship is her fault. And so he takes all of his aggression out on her. She's the weaker of the two of them in terms of, physicality. And so he figures, I got the upper hand on her. I could just slap her around. And he's gotten so comfortable with beating her that he does it in broad daylight, in public, in front of people, even in front of other females, in front of men. It's like he's sending a message. And he might even have a problem with his own, identity of who he is. He feels like to make himself elevated, to be that male, to be dominant, that alpha male, he has to be so super aggressive and whip his woman around and beat her like a rag doll. And that right there is just a real huge no-no, and it's a sign of disrespect. And think about it, the way that our climate is today, you have enough going on in the Black community that you have to be concerned about, dealing with politics, police brutality towards Black males. And who comes to their defense? Black females, most oftentimes. And it's very sad. So from what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing, both on this end, I feel like this life's too short, and it's a lot of disrespect out there. And pretty much to stick together, you have to understand one another. You have to see each other from eye to eye. It has to be 50-50. It can't be, you got 10% over here and then you got, 90% on the other end with the other person in the relationship, where they're doing everything, they're loving and they're caring, but this other person is only maybe giving them maybe not even 10%, maybe worse than that, maybe 5%. And so you got this other person, they're doing 95% of, the caregiving and the loving and everything, and you probably bringing in the income. And this, you got this bad person here who they're just every day chipping away at the person's emotions and who they are. And a lot of times it's easy to talk about how people look and their weight and how they changed on them and how they don't look attractive, and then to blame them for why they're, unfaithful, and their problem with infidelity and with lying, habitual lying and cheating. And so you have some people who they feel like, well, this man is powerful. He has a lot that I'm invested in. And so I can't just leave him like that. We have kids together. Or Two, sometimes you have some women who they're just madly in love with this individual, but he's not giving her the same love. He doesn't feel the way she feels about him. So she's risking all of whatever she has in her body, in her mind, in her spirit and soul. She could lose her life all because she loves someone who doesn't love her back, doesn't respect her, treats her like she's a rag doll or maybe worse than that. And so I'm not for that. I'm not in agreement with that kind of lifestyle. And with women who choose to be like that, there's something going on up here in her head. And there's a lot more invested in that relationship that she has, that she's letting on to people. And a lot of times they don't want to separate because of the kids, and then there's money involved in those relationships. They have joint accounts or they have joint custody. They don't want to go through the messy divorce. And so there's a lot involved in it. It's expensive to get divorces. So they're willing to risk their lives, their kids' lives even. It's sick hearing about that, but their kids are probably getting attacked and beat, you know, as we heard from the video. And, even with a poor couple, it's the kids. I don't want the kids to not have a father, or the woman is like emotionally attached to this dude because he's like chipped away to her emotions all through the relationships to where she feels totally dependent on him. I've heard of stories where women have put their education on the back burner to see that the man is educated. And then as soon as he gets educated, she may have cooked, cleaned, done everything to be the perfect, or what she would assume to be a perfect mate. And then as soon as he gets on his feet, he gets money, gets educated and whatnot, he leaves her for someone else who is what? Educated, or she has something that you don't possess because you spent all your time, all your money, and all your energy worrying about him instead of worrying about what is going to happen if something happens to him. What about yourself? And so these are the kind of things that it's really sickening to see this. And I see a lot of this happening in the Black communities with females. And a lot of people don't realize that there's this undying loyalty to some of the wrong individuals. Let me stress that, the wrong people. And so the same loyalty that we should be given to people who are probably worth that energy, we don't give it to. And to those that aren't worth that, we're giving them undying love, undying attention, undivided attention, which they're not even deserving of. And so with that being said, I'm going to let this video go, but that's just a sad scenario. You heard it for yourself. You could hear the arguing in the background, but I'm going to try to put the link underneath this video. But it's a sad reality, and I've seen a lot of this happening, even in the community here where I stay at. And I choose to be single. I prefer it that way. I have my freedom, and I know how I said that. It's like I have my freedom, but it's true. I have my freedom, and I have a lot of goals in mind. And two, with experience, I've had relationships in the past, and I know what happens from beginning to end. And it's just, I know everybody's not the same, but I like actually having my autonomy and I enjoy it. So I won't deny that. I just feel that it's sad that people will settle for the bottom of the barrel. And it's just really sad. There's more people out there in the world that you can spend time with who are more deserving of a true, genuine, loving relationship that you can put your energies in instead of wasting time on people who are cheating on you, they're a habitual liar, or they put you in a situation where you feel like you're trapped with them. You're not trapped with them. You are choosing to be with that individual. And there's always someone else out there who is not going to mistreat you and not going to tear you down emotionally and physically. And so I just think people need to really, how would you say, grow up in a sense, that don't just limit yourself to that one individual. If they're not giving you any act right, then don't be bothered with them. Try to figure out in your mind, in the long run, is this going to be worth it? Am I going to lose my life for this individual? I know it says for better or for worse, but when the person is treating you with nothing but worse and there's no balance, there's no break in between, there's no trying to go to counseling to get help for emotional problems, past hurts, then it's time to let go of that. It's time to heal. And so that's the problem. There's a lot of brokenness, I believe, in the Black community with females and with males alike. And so that's the reason why a lot of the relationships suffer because of past events. And also, I would say the past usually comes back to haunt the present. And what has happened historically with the breaking of up of families, not knowing who is who, not knowing whom you're related to, or where your origins correctly are, searching and being uncertain, getting in relationships and modeling them from a video or music video is not love. So, with that being said, I'm going to let this video go, but what are your thoughts? That was really heartbreaking to see that you had to have another female defend another female that was being attacked on a public transit bus in front of all these people, children, men, women on the bus, and this woman is getting the brakes beat off of her on the regular. That's the world we live in, which is very sad. So, with that being said, thanks for listening.